Hello and welcome back everyone, this is Drenon with more Warframe, and this time I will show you some of the missions that are in the game as well as some of the equipment. The reason I do that while I still have my tutorial series going is that yesterday a new event started. So for those of you new to the game, or those of you who somehow manage to always miss those, every once in a while they launch a special event. Those special events contain special missions, enemies and rewards. The current one, as you can see there at the navigation console, is the Operation Shadow Debt. This is related to something that I won't talk more about, because if you did that already then you know, and if not then I will not spoil it for you. Also, just really quickly, you can also see down there an alert for the Mirage Trivalent Helmet blueprint, which, as I mentioned in the video about the Foundry, is one of the cosmetic helmets for Mirage. This is how you can get the blueprint, and I also mentioned that in the video about the market. So this is one way to get cosmetic helmets for free. So what's this whole thing about? Well, someone is calling in their debt, and this contains us killing, well, as you can see, well, not quite see yet, but in the end this current event contains to look for data to find Acolytes of the Stalker and then take those out. As you can see, I'm already at 2 of 4 cloaking data found, and in order to do that you have to do spy missions. So this video will not only show you what an event can entail, but I will also show you spy missions, and I will show you what I personally like to take with me on spy missions as far as my gear goes. So first things first, how do we even know about an event? There's a couple of ways. One would be the official website, because they are always posted there, and then there is a few ways in the game. First would be the news console. As you can see there, 17 hours ago Operation Shadow Debt started. And the second one, way more obvious of course, is the navigation console, where the event is simply shown at the top. And with that I also can show you an extra symbol on the navigation console up here. As you can see, there's an extra symbol that was not there when I did my video on the navigation. This contains all the missions that are connected to this event. What can you see here when you click on that? Well, I am on mission 3, recover cloaking data from enemy vaults, and the reward when I do 4 of them, as you can see here, which is also why it says 2 of 4, so I've done 2 runs already and I still have 2 more to go, is an Orchid Catalyst and the Acolyte Sigil. So the Acolyte Sigil is something that I can just put onto my Warframe's front or back if I choose to. So now that you know that, how do you go about that in general when you want to do a mission? Well, let's have a closer look at that. As you can see here, when you look at the planets, Mercury has the same symbol, so that indicates that there is one of the missions. Same goes for Venus, same goes for Earth. So currently those 3 planets have missions for this event. When we go to Earth, then we have here Shadow Debt Mission 3, which for one is actually a mobile defense, not a spy mission. That's a change for once. I did not have a look at it yet, so I did not know that. Let's look at Venus. Mission 2 is a spy mission, which is what I just did. And mission 1 on Mercury, it was a spy mission as well, level 5 to 10, fairly low level. Since I'm at the 3rd step now, I guess I will instead show you a mobile defense mission to also get further into the event. So what is this? This is a mobile defense against the Grenier, level 10 to 15. What do we have to do during a mobile defense? You have to defend 3 consoles from the enemy. They cannot destroy it. So you can either do that with your friends, you can do that with randoms. I, in this case, will do it on my own. which for the most part is because no one else is online who I know, and the other reason is that this way I can play in my own pace, and I can also make sure that you won't miss too much that's going on. So I know that I need to defend something, which is why I will have a quick look at the arsenal. I usually use Ash Prime, but he is not the very best when it comes to defending, though he would probably be fine in this mission, and I actually think I will keep using him. My preferred choice, if I want to make sure that I succeed in the mission, is for everything that is about defending something, Frost, or Frost Prime in my case, simply because he has an awesome ability that makes it easy for him to defend. Actually, I think, since this is about showing stuff as well, let me just show you how that works. So first off, I just did it now, let me explain that real quick. So this is the arsenal, and I will go into it in more detail on the video on the arsenal where I go through everything. This is where you change your equipment that you have with you. Your Warframe, your primary weapon, secondary weapon, melee weapon, your companion, your gear, and yes, your emotes. Emotes are not really doing anything, they are just that, they are emotes. You can equip them or not, and then you can do them in-game or not, however you choose. To have a quick look at the gear, you can take 8 pieces of gear with you into a mission. I usually have the 4 team restores with me that I mentioned in the previous videos, so a restore for health, ammo, shield and energy. I also have my synthesis scanner with me, which is kinda a higher level codex scanner. It does the same thing and more, which is why I have that with me, plus it has infinite charges, which I will explain how to get that in a video on relays and Cephalon Simaris. Then I still have my very old pistol ammo boxes that are not even in the game anymore, but they will reload your pistol ammo completely. A kinetic siphon trap, which is connected to the synthesis scanner. I just have it with me just in case, and my air support charges so I can use my ship's ability. So that's pretty much my standard loadout in gear. So what do I want to take with me? I already said I will take Frost Prime with me. I will not go into mods too much and into equipping them to frames in this video. I will do that in another video. Pretty much my Frost is just set for defense and survival, not so much for doing damage. Then weapon-wise, this is pretty much my end-level loadout, my Rakta Cernus, my Rakta Ballistica and my Dragon Nikana. All 3 are fairly high-tier weapons, but I would actually like to show you that you do not need high-tier weapons in order to kill something. So in this mission, unless I manage to completely forget that already, we are up against the Grinier, which means that puncture damage is a good way to go, which means I will take the Paris, which is also a fairly low tier weapon that you can get with Mastery rank 2, I think, 1 or 2, one of the 2. So if you like both, this is a good way to go, and you can also pick the MK1 Paris in the tutorial. And as you can see, there is no mods in there, which is not a good thing, so let's put some basic mods in there. Serration is currently the standard mods for every weapon available, if it's a rifle, because it increases the overall damage, as you can see here on the left. And I will also take my split chamber with me, because it gives me a chance that I shoot 2 arrows instead of 1, or 2 projectiles instead of 1. Effectively increasing my damage heavily. As you can see, if I take it off again, my puncture damage will be at 338, and if I put it on, it will be at 643. So it automatically calculates that in there. Bear in mind, both of those mods will probably change and or go away in the future. Serration, the base damage mods will likely be removed at some point, simply because they are in every build, since they are pretty important. And the point of mods is to customize your weapon and the way in which it works, which is the reason why they will take those out, which is for me perfectly fine. Multi-shot currently simply fires multiple projectiles but does not use more ammo, so this is another straight up damage boost, and they already announced a bit ago that they will change that so that a multi-shot will also use up more ammo. So what it does, it will increase your DPS, your damage per second, but it will not increase your, what I like to call, ammo efficiency. It essentially means if you shoot twice as much, then you also use twice as many bullets. Currently, when I shoot twice with one shot, then I still only use one shot. So they will rebalance that, again, something that I am perfectly fine with. Also a very quick look at polarities, which you can see at the top right of mods, and I will talk, again, that's something that I will talk in detail in my Arsenal video. And the top right you can see symbols. And those symbols in the top right of the mods. And those symbols are the polarity of the mod. There is for weapon mods 4 polarities: Madurai, which is also called a V mod. There is Valorine, which is a D mod. And then there is Naramon, which I guess can be called Line. And the question is, what do they actually do? Well, if you have a slot in the weapon, like you can see here for the Paris, it has one of those Naramon slots here. When I put a mod in there with the same polarity, it only uses half as much capacity. My capacity can be seen at the lower left. It is for my Paris 30 because it is rank 30. It is not upgraded with an Orokin Catalyst, which would double its capacity. So at rank 30 it has a mod capacity of 30. But since this is a slot for a Naramon mod, if I put a Naramon mod in here, I can use one that uses up to 6 capacity, which is what I am looking for right now. So let's see what we have. We have increased reload speed, which is good for both. Both firing speed and reload speed essentially increase the rate at which a bow fires, because reloading is how quick you get a new arrow on it, and fire rate is how quick you actually draw the bow. So as you can see, this one would cost 6 capacity, but if I put it into that slot here, it only uses 3. So that's a fairly basic Paris bow that I have with me now, and you will see that with the right mods, which admittedly are, especially the split chamber is a rare mod, as you can see, but it's not that hard to get. But you will see that this weapon is very much usable and will probably one-shot 1 or 2 Granier easily. Secondary weapons, I will just pick something nice and easy to use. Not the Aglato, because they honestly sound like crap. Let's use the Acolytes, those are kinda nice. Let's mod those as well, and they are already modded. I have modded those with a Hornet Strike, which is the basic damage mod for pistols. Lethal Torrent, which increases the fire rate and gives it multi-shot, so I have a 60% chance to fire 2 bullets instead of 1. And I have a 60% fire rate increase, and this mod is one of the Nightmare mods. I talked about those in the navigation video. When I explained the navigation, when you do nightmare alerts, this is one of the mods that you can get there if you're lucky. And then I have Scorch, which gives me extra heat damage and extra status chance. So that's a nice set of weapons, should be good enough, and I actually think as a melee I will keep my Dragon Nikana, because why would you not? It is a katana and it looks awesome. The sheath I have for it is a cosmetic item that I bought, which can be used for just that, and you can change that for any weapon. Again, something that I will explain in my Arsenal video, but when you go to appearance you can change a lot of things in the appearance about your Warframe, your weapons and so on, including the colors, some pieces of armor if you have something there, the skin and all sorts of things. But this is not really the video where I want to go into that too much. Also, before I forget, I will take my trusty companion Silas with me, so that he gets a bit of fun as well. So let's do the mission. My matchmaking is set to friends only, so everyone on my friend list would be able to simply join my game. Then we go to the top here, choose the event, the Operation Shadow Depth, click on it, and then it will automatically focus on the mission, and we click play now. And then we just wait for the game to load. In the loading screen, by the way, for those curious, you can actually control your ship with the W, A, S and D keys. Doesn't do anything, it's just something for you to do while you wait for the game to load. Okay, here we go, a mobile defense against the Grineer with a bit of story text. And on the left you can always see your mission objective. In this case I need to get to 2 data terminals, and on the lower left you can see that there is a marker. The yellow one always signals your mission objective, the blue one is allies, and red is enemies, assuming that you have someone with you who has an enemy radar on them, otherwise you don't see them.
Tenno, I'm glad you didn't forget.
Now if I just would be able to hit, they would actually die. So as you can see, this game is fairly quick. As you can see, I can dodge roll into various directions. You can do a quick forward bullet jump, which then boosts you forward towards the enemy and can also get you to higher areas. And everything else is pretty much shoot as standard. You aim and you shoot at whatever is in your target. So this is one of the systems that I have to secure. I have the data with me, I took it with me, so when I go next to it I have to press X to put it in there, and when I do that the countdown starts at the left side. I have 3 minutes now until this objective will be reached, and as you can see everyone is coming at me. So let's prevent that, and more importantly, why did I take Frost with me? I will show you. This is one of Frost's abilities. He's making a nice snow globe that prevents enemy bullets to go in there. When you have 1 up, you can make up to 4 at the same time with Frost, and they last until they are destroyed by the enemy. Which is really handy. And at the lower right you can see my skills. The third skill of them is the snow globe, and it shows you the life of your last set snow globe. So as you can see, my current one is still at 90%, even though it has already been shot a bit. That aside, you will see various enemy types here that I am fighting, and you can also see with the Paris I am very much able to do a fair amount of damage to them. This one there, an Artificer, actually is new to me, I think, which is why I will also show you how the scanner works. So you can set hotkeys to the slots, but you can also just open your gear menu by holding down the Q button. In which case you can just choose the piece of gear that you want to use with the mouse. So I want to choose the synthesis scanner, and then when you zoom in it will show you which enemies are there and which ones you have already scanned. Everything that's green you have already scanned to get all info out of them. Everything that's red you have not scanned yet. As you can see, here's nothing red around me, everything's green. And scanning is fairly easy, you just, unless you get knocked over by someone. Also my snow globe is almost gone. Jesus, people are trying to explain something. So scanning is fairly easy, you just hold down the left mouse button until the scan is done. And that's all there is to it really. And then it automatically gets the information into your codex. Also one reason why I like Kubros is that you can actually revive them, which at the same time I personally tend to not let anyone behind. This includes Kubros as well. So I pick Kubros up whenever I can. And this is what this mode is about. You have to defend this console from the hordes of enemies that will keep spawning at you. If they destroy it, the mission is lost. and you have to succeed for 1 to 3 consoles. In this case I am kinda lucky to only have 2, but I think the hack time over all consoles is usually 6 minutes. What I did not tell you initially is how do you even get the data there. It's laying around at the start of the mission, always when you do a mobile defense. Right now it's of course laying in front of this console, since that's where I brought it. It's laying here and you pick it up with the X key. Now I have it with me, and one thing that's important to mention is while you're carrying it you can only use your secondary or your melee weapon. So you cannot use your primary. If you switch to your primary, which you do with the F button, with the F key by default, then you will drop it, as I can show you here. So I switched to the bow, but I've dropped it. Also, pressing F switches between your primary and secondary, and holding down F gets your melee ready. Now you might wonder, why would you want to get your melee ready? Because you can actually do quick melee attacks while, as you can see now, my bow is drawn. And by pressing E I can simply do melee attacks. That's all nice, ain't it? Yeah, that's not too bad, but there's way more than that to melee weapons. First, as you can see, when I do the quick melee, that's all I can do. I swing left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right. So what happens when I properly get my melee weapon ready? All of a sudden there's an extra swing. It's still left and right, nothing too fancy. Well, then let's see what else a melee weapon can do. When you have a so-called stance mod in your melee weapon, you get a set of combos. And you look at those by pressing escape, go into the menu, and then choosing melee combos, where it will show you what the possible combos are. So for what I have installed in my Dragon Nikanas, which is Stance Tranquil Cleave, there is 4 combos. The rest down here is pretty much standard for every weapon. So one is 3 times E, one is 2 times E, then a pause, then 4 times E, one is 3 times E. Would you please stop interrupting me? Jesus! There, have a freeze. Jeez, so rude. The third one is 3 times E, then hold E and press E again, and the last one is 2 times E, right button plus E, right mouse button plus E, and 2 times E. Sounds complicated, but really, once you got the hang of it, it is fairly easy. So let me show you. For example, the last one with the right mouse button, you can actually just hold it down the whole time. And that's what the combo looks like. Looks a bit different, doesn't it? Well, what was the other one that we had? 2 times E, pause, and then more E's. In which case you will stab the enemies and then slash them to bits. That's nice as well. And the other one, 3 times E and then hold E. Which again has fairly heavy swings. So yeah, as you can see, it's definitely worth pulling out your melee every once in a while instead of just doing that. That's one way of doing it, but it's actually not as much fun as the other way. And frankly, this is what this game is about. Enjoying your time, killing people. That's all there really is about this game, if you really want to boil it down to the basics, because pretty much every mission evolves around you killing the enemy. There is some missions that you can do stealth, but this one here certainly not, because at the latest, even if you manage to get to the console unnoticed, the enemies will come as soon as you activate it. So as you can see, the Acolytes, which I have, and the legs is another weapon that you can buy, which is fairly expensive with, I think, 50,000 credits. But as you can see, it's a decent weapon for mid-level enemies, so currently it's level 10 to 14. That's what you would encounter after a few hours of gameplay on the second and third planet, so all good with that. Now let's talk a bit about Warframes and their abilities. So I am currently playing the Warframe Frost Prime. If you have Frost or Frost Prime does not really matter, for the abilities they do the same things. His name kinda suggests that he has something to do with frost, cold, ice, and yes indeed he does. So he has 4 abilities as every Warframe. You can cycle through them with the mouse wheel, or you can just use them with the number keys 1 to 4. I will not show you the 5th ability. There is a 5th ability, but I will not show you that because spoilers. And that's already more spoilers than I probably should have given you. But anyway. So what can Frost do? His first ability is kind of Frostbolt. The thing is that I probably cannot properly show you because no one will survive it. So you shoot a Frostbolt at the enemy that will do damage and freeze them, assuming that they survive. As you can see here, this Feral Kubro survived the hit, so now he's frozen. For a good while actually, before he finally gets attacked by Sealers and Shatters. So that's the thing. So that's his first ability. What does the second ability do? Well, the second ability is the so-called Ice Wave, which does this. It's a wave of ice that shoots towards the enemy and damages them. In my case, I have an ability augmentation installed that it will also slow everyone down in the area, which is so incredibly handy. And this would have been an enemy to scan. Too late! Also, I just dropped my weapons there, good job. Dropped the data there, I mean, sorry. But let's go on with the mission. I need more energy currently, so I will just drop my energy support and it restores 100 energy every couple seconds. So I have enough energy to set up the orb again. So yes, every ability that you use with your Warframe uses up some of your energy. And I actually even scanned those enemies completely. I was not aware that I did. But good to know. So the Warframes have different amounts of energy and you can increase those increase the energy with the right mods, which is really handy depending on your playstyle and your frame. Some frames have abilities that you don't use that often, sometimes your playstyle will be one where you don't use too many abilities. In those cases you won't need to focus too much on getting more energy and rather focus your Warframe on other things. So this far I've showed you 3 of his abilities. The one is an Ice Bolt, the second one is an Ice Wave, the third one is an Ice Globe. Those are all nice and all and they do some protection, do some damage. The Globe actually freezes enemies when they walk into it. But the question is there more to him than that? Yes, there is, because as I said, there is a fourth ability, the so-called Ultimate. And in order to show you that properly, I will get myself between a couple enemies. And by the way, what I'm doing right now you shouldn't do. I'm leaving the Grenier system behind, which leaves it vulnerable. Normally you shouldn't do that. What does this Ultimate do? Well, it does that. It freezes everything around me and it deals fairly high damage, and in the low to medium tier it pretty much kills everything instantly. At least on the level I am at with him. Since my Frost Prime is first, he is level 30, but he is also upgraded with an Orokin reactor, which means that he has twice the mod capacity. And all this will be something that I will talk in way more detail when I get to the arsenal. Right now the focus is gameplay. Yes, this mission is fairly static, I have to admit, and this is also fairly low level, so something to keep in mind is this is not exactly representative of how hectic the game can actually get in the higher levels. Because in the higher levels you will have like 2 to 3 times as many enemies coming at you than what is coming at me right here. But what I want to show you with this is first how some of the gameplay works. Bear in mind though, I'm running around with a fairly powerful Warframe. Compared to this, in another mission I would probably gimp myself a bit and just equip lower mods so that you have more of an idea what to expect when you initially start with missions and run missions with your Warframe. So you get a better idea what it will actually be like, because right now I'm simply overpowered. That's all you can say. Also you notice that they occasionally drop those nice shiny things. Those are ammo packs. They drop for various kinds of weapons, and they are color coded. Blue is for primary weapons. The yellow one here is for shotguns. You also see it at the bottom of the screen when you run over it. It says shotgun ammo is full, which is, of course, it is full because I don't even have a shotgun. So blue is rifle. Violet, I think, is for sniper rifles and missile launchers as well as bows. And red is for secondaries. And which ammo drops is completely random. As you can see, I'm dropping ammo here that I can't even use. So at the very worst, you could actually run out of ammo. I have not really managed to do that yet, unless I'm doing a fairly long infinite mission run, in which I would stay longer than your average player would stay there, or if I use weapons that waste a lot of ammunition, because they are those two, which would be the weapons that I consider having a bad, more like a very bad ammo efficiency. Also, what you may have noticed at the top left on the minimap, the symbol that shows me where I have to go changed to green. This is indicating that there is the exit, so you just go towards it. And the indicators, by the way, always point towards the end of the room you are currently in. What is a room? Well, fairly simple. The rooms that the level consists of always connect at certain points. This one, when you look at the minimap, you can see a line right in front of me, so this one would end here, and this is yet another room. So there could be a completely different room in this place than in this level where I am currently in. Also, this is, I mentioned it shortly in the beginning, this is a Earth tile set, so this is what Earth would look like. Then you go to the exit, and then you are done with the mission. It tells you what you did, it tells you what you got. If your items are not leveled yet, or not fully leveled, it will tell you how much experience you got there. You can see how much damage you did, how many kills you got, and so on, and how many items you collected and how many mods you collected. And because this was over fairly quickly, I will go over that briefly when we are back on the Lisette. So, when you're done with the mission, you can take your time and check out what you got. So as you can see, there is a couple things that I got, like I got 1,900 credits as general reward, I got 1,863 credits in mission credits, which is what you picked up during the mission. I got a credit cache, which is interesting because I did not know those are a thing. Caches are pretty much extra rewards that you get in, for example, survival missions or spy missions, and I actually did not know that those are a thing in mobile defense as well now, apparently. Maybe it is event connected, though I'm not quite sure about that. But those are simply certain amounts of cash that you get by doing missions. And then the kind of resources that I found. As you can see, I got 9 detonite ampules, I got 148 ferrite, I got 42 rubido, 21 oxium, 1 nav coordinate, and 1 neurote. And those are the mods that I got during this run anyway. So this was this mobile defense mission. A quick look at the mission itself, how it works. I hope that, well, I guess this was not really one of the most hard missions to do, and more importantly, this was not exactly one of the most complicated missions to do. Let's have a quick look at what the next mission would be. Apparently it will be on Jupiter. And the next one is a mobile defense against the Corpus this time, which would be a good opportunity to show what the Corpus do, what the Corpus are about. You saw that the Grineer are, as I already mentioned when I went over the codex, they are soldiers, they are heavily armored, and they have like assault rifles and stuff, and that's what the thing of the Grineer is. So I will show you the next one to show you some of the corpus in the next part, I think, and I will also then show you another set of gears so that you get a bit more of an idea what you would be up for if you would look into the game, and if you started the game and want to know what it is what it is like when you get a bit further down the line as far as gear, equipment and frames go. So I hope you enjoyed this brief video, and I hope that I will see you again next time. This was me, Drennon. If you liked the video, feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you did not like it, you are probably not even here anymore and either just did not bother or gave me a thumbs down. You are more than welcome to leave me a comment. Any comment is appreciated, and if you don't want to miss my other videos on Warframe and other games, don't forget to subscribe. I hope to see you all again next time. Bye!